Hello Budici, welcome to this video. Today we have some very important questions about composing dances, and these questions are I had these questions have been posted by Paul from Australia. Hello Paul, on the Musicus Practicus Academy free levels. You can join this now. First of all, let's see the question and let's see how it works, and let's answer this very interesting question. Then I'll tell you how to watch those lessons. First of all, these are the questions. There's one more question here. Here it is. So the first question in the lesson about the allemande, the compositional elements of an allemande, is: Hi Ricardus, can an allemande in the minor mode end with a tierce de Picardie? Thanks. Yes, let's say yes. Why? The answer is very simple. The name tierce de Picardie is a later name. It's something which we can find in one of those dictionaries of the 18th century. Now, I don't remember one, but one of those dictionaries by Voltaire, Rousseau, but it's a later name. So we don't find this name in the early music tradition and early music, let's say, theory of the practice, okay? But according to the ancient modal system, especially in the Renaissance, any piece finishes with a major chord, because the distinction between major and minor doesn't have to be understood as major mode and minor mode, but the major chord is more perfect than the minor chord because the ratio of the 6 of the 4/5 is closer to the ratio of the 6 something, because the major third is 4/5, so the ratio is the relationship is 4/5, while the minor third is something like 6/5 or 6, I guess. Now I don't remember. But by the way, the essence is that for the ancient musician here, you're using small numbers than the minor third, small numbers than the 6, because only 4 and 5. So it's closer to the other ratios, which are more perfect. The most perfect ratio is the unison. Then there is the octave. Then there is the fifth, or even called sesquialtera. Then there is the fourth, or diapente, or sesquitertia, 4/3. And then there is the major fourth, the major third, as you can see. Then if we if we add other numbers like 6, 7, okay, we start to go more far than the 1/1. This is the principle. So in all Renaissance music and keyboard music, especially in church music, even in the Baroque period, we can find pieces written in a minor mode, or minor modes in terms of even like first tonus, or second tonus, which is G minor, or third tonus, which is A minor, or fourth tonus, which is A minor. These are the minor modes basically, ending with a major chord, because you don't have to think about the major chord like major and minor, but the major chord like a chord which is more perfect and closer to the unison and more suitable for the ending. Indeed, if you check early Renaissance music, they used to finish with the perfect harmony without the third at all. Or sometimes you just can maybe create a third and then moves the third to the fifth in order to don't have the third at all at the end. So this is the answer to the first question. So yes, you can do this. You can, and sometimes you must, because let's say in the Baroque style, especially if you have a very hard ending with a long crescenza or something where you use a lot of dissonances, ending with a major chord, it's even more powerful. Sounds very strange this way, but if we do Here we need the major harmony. I cannot think about that with a minor harmony, for example. This was just a little improvisation in Allemand style to show you a possible ending. Now, the other questions are much more technical, but even very interesting, because in the other question we talk about the arsis and the thesis. So the resting point, or better, the tension point, the arsis, and the thesis, so the resting point of a phrase. Let's read. I have a couple of questions that I hope you could answer. So here we are in this lesson, which is analysis 1, Georg Friedrich Handel, A major, Allemand. So here in the at the left, wait a moment, you cannot see the screen. Right, now you can see it. Here at the left, we are in this part, Baroque 3, Suite and Dances, as you can see. Wait, we need the, okay, Suite and Dances. This is the video, Allemand. Basically the second one, as you can see. Now, what's the point of the question? Let's read it. There's something strange today with the Goldberg. Come on. What's happening? This is I think an update. Okay, come on. Oh, okay, nice. Yes, let's do this so you can read you can read it well. Perfect. Hey Ricardo, so the same Paul. I have a couple of questions that I hope you could answer. Regarding the thesis, regarding the arsis and thesis, major T and minor T, okay. Is it usual to have a mini phrase, as in bar one of the example in the video, beginning with a strong A, arsis, and finishing with a weak T thesis, and another mini phrase beginning with a weak A, arsis, to finish with a strong thesis? So the answer is yes, definitively. Now let's see more in depth what he's talking about. He's talking about number 1, so the phrase number 1. So yes, there is an arsic movement at the beginning. So attention, let's say anytime you start a phrase, you have an arsic point. Why? Because anytime I start to say something new, even with words, I start an expectation. So you are expecting, you see, I stopped to work, I stopped talking, and you said, oh, what's happening? The same thing in music. If I start to say something, your expectation is that my speech continues and arrives to a certain point, a rest, a comma, a little breath. The same with musical speech. This is a little thetic point, release of the phrase. And the same. So we have 2 short phrases, as you can see. Ta ta, sol sol, fa la sol fa mi fa. This is called preliminary thesis, and the reason why it's not explained at all here, because the Allemand is the only dance which doesn't follow a tone at all, a specific rhythm. But from the following chapter, so about the minuet, this will be very important. Now I'll tell you why. For example, here, this phrase is followed by another phrase, fa sol la sol fa mi re do sol la fa la, where there is another little preliminary thesis. Then there is another phrase which is longer, do do da la sol fa mi la sol fa mi la sol fa mi re, and this 1 bar plus 1 bar plus 2 bars is very, very common. I show you another example that I have here on the iPad. The other day I composed this Bourée. One of the techniques that you can use in the Bourée, but even in other dances, is this technique: 1 bar plus 1 bar plus 2 bars. And then the true thesis, the stronger thesis, arrives in the 4th bar. But we may have some preliminary thesis. For example, let's play the first line. The first line goes. And then the beginning of the following phrase. That's a Bourée. Now, pa pa pam pa pa pam. It's something. Pa pa pam pa pa pa. Ta ta tan ta ta tan. Ta ta tan ta ta tan ta tan ta. Here there's the thesis. Tum tum. Then ta ta tan ta ta ta. Ta ta tan ta ta tan. Ta ta tan ti ta ti ta ta. And this thesis, because it's at the end of the phrase, it's even stronger. So we can say that there is a strong thesis. Thesis means a thetic point of repose here at the beginning of bar number 4, here at the beginning of bar number 4 of the second phrase, which is even stronger, and after the 2-bar section, there is a preliminary thesis. I'm going to call this kind of thesis this way in the from the second level, the minuet. Preliminary thesis, I write this way, and even there may be another very, very, very preliminary thesis here, very, very small. Ta ta tan ta ra tan ta ra tan ta ta 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 tan, and then the same ta ta tan 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 ta ta tan. Very preliminary thesis, because at the end the arsic point is starting here. Ta-ra-tan, 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 ta-ta-tan. So tan ta-ta-tan, ta-ta-ta, ta-ta-tan, ta-ta-ta, ta-ta, hum. And as you can perceive, ta-ta-tam, ta-ta-tan, ta-ta. This is stronger. So here we have the true arsic point. So yes, we can have a phrase preceded by another, a phrase with a thesis preceded by another preliminary thesis. At all. That's good. There's a hierarchy of thesis and repose point. Even the cadence here, we have a third. The fact that we use a third, so a feminine cadence, it's much more. It's less resting, less conclusive than ending with an octave. And the hierarchy of the consonants is very important in these dances. We have a third and we have an octave. Then we have another phrase. Third, as you can see, a little third. Then ta 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 ta. I'm ending with the fifth. Let's say the fifth. There's a third, okay, but on the main degree, because it's a half cadence of F minor, there's a fifth, the fifth degree of the chord. What's the chord? The chord on the fifth degree of F minor. And this preliminary thesis, okay, is going to be completed and concluded by the following thesis we can find with the cadence to F minor. Listen. The octave is much stronger. At the same time, this is ta-ra-ta-ra-ra-ra. It's a preliminary thesis, of course. Ta-ra-ra-ra. And as you can see, even this phrase is composed by 2 plus 2, where the first one is 1 plus 1, but this is the exact inversion of the big opening. As you can see. And then instead of descending here we are ascending. So this organization helps us to find new musical ideas and to reuse the material we already have used. And so on, we even with the last phrase, let's say the last 8-bar phrase starting this point. So here there's a section which is 2 bars long. As you can see, there's only one preliminary thesis here. It's not 1 bar plus 1 bar. It's a unit of 2 bars. Remember that we count the bar from the 3rd beat to the 3rd beat, this way, from the 4th beat to the 3rd beat. And this syncopation module, which is very important in the Bourée, it's very common in that thetic bar, in the first thetic bar. Tan tan tu to tom pa pa pam pa pa pam pa pa pam. Then ti 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 ta tam. And so the final thesis here and the preliminary thetic point. Ta ta tan ta ta tan ta ta tan ta ta tan ta ta tora ta ta ti ta tan. Then remember that when we talk about the thetic point in the Bourée, for example, we are talking about these rhythmic values. So the half note with a dot. So tan ta ta tan, it's one single unit. Tori ri, and then ta-ra, here there's a third, and then at the end there's an octave. Even here there's a third, as you can see, because it's not the final cadence of the 8-bar phrase. Here we are even looking this from a more zoom out point of view. So the answer is yes, there's a hierarchy in these cadences, which can be done by which can be created by the use of the intervals. The octave is much more conclusive, and the phrase which is built with some blocks. 2 plus 2, for example, 1 plus 1, preliminary thesis, plus other 2, strong thesis. Then 1 plus 1, again, preliminary thesis, 2 plus 2, very strong thesis, to finish an 8-bar phrase. So the answer is yes, at all. Now, there is another question. The second one. Here, there's another part. Let's see. Or is it permissible to have a mini phrase with arsithesis, i.e. both beginning and end weak? Usually the beginning and end weak. Beginning is never weak, because the beginning is so anytime you start a phrase, you're creating a little tension. And AT, both beginning and end strong. Let's say not at all. Why? Because otherwise the phrase is very long and you lose the rhythm. Even here, your perception is that we have a long phrase. This phrase is built in 2 plus 2. So even with one single phrase, you should do your best to write something starting with a weak thesis, where then there is the stronger thesis arriving here. That's why ta-ta-tan, 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 ta-ra-tan, ta-ta-tan, 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 ta-ra-tam, pa-pam. This is the rhythm of the Bourée. So about this point, you can build it, but I think will sound quite strange. I mean, you don't perceive anymore the hierarchy of the rhythm. I understand, so point number 2, that may also be, I understand that the strong and weak beat and the strong and weak arsis and thesis are dependent on the rhythmic nature of the phrase, as you have described in the video. Right. However, I was wondering if a strong arsis may also be supported by the use of a chord played in the root position, and a weak arsis with a chord in the first inversion. Similarly, could a strong thesis be supported by using a perfect cadence with both chords in the root position, and weak thesis supported by any other cadence, or by a perfect cadence with the final chord? So let's say you made a lot of examples talking about inversion, not inversion. In general, the answer is yes. The thetic point, the more is, so the fact that we have an octave, as I told you before, not an octave only in terms of the harmony 358, but more in terms of the what's the highest note doing. This creates a very strong effect, which is much more conclusive and thetic than using a third. There's an analysis I made of Bach, the aria of the Goldberg variation, which is a saraband, and in that point you can see how there's always a preliminary thesis. Let's say there's always a cadence, like a cadence to the 5th degree, and then another cadence to the 1st degree of that 5th degree, just to show you what I'm talking about. Now, I don't remember if I have here that analysis. Let me see. There's the video. I'll put the link here in the description of that video, because that's a very good analysis, not only because I made it, but yeah, because it's a very great example, piece of music. No, I cannot see it here, so let's take another. So let us take from the web Bach Goldberg variations. As you can see, PDF. Good. Okay, now we need just the aria. Let's take this. Tan, tan, ta, ta. Look at this point. Mi, re, do, mi. These are accents. Mi, re, do. This is the structure. Then to, so. So there is a third. 3, 2, 1. Sol, sol, la, fa, la, sol, fa, mi, re, ta. Tan, ti, 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 ti. Mi, fa. And then mi, fa. There's an octave with the syncopation module because at the end this aria it's a saraband. Then we're going to approach another cadence, which is here a cadence to D. The final cadence to D has an octave at the top, as you can see. And here, this cadence is 4/5, so based on, let's say, something like an ascending tetrachord. And look at the nose. As you can see, 7, and we have a kind of seventh which is very quickly resolved. I mean, it's not resolved at all at the end because that's just an appoggiatura. Pom, pom, pom. It stays on that harmony. And we have the third, for example, with cadence 4/5, and that's a preliminary thesis to the following, or better, it's a thesis. The preliminary thesis arrives here. Ta-da, ta, 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 preliminary thesis. Then strong thesis. And the following strong thesis is even stronger because it's the end of the 8-bar phrase. And then if you check, for example, here, we have the cadence to E minor. Look at the cadence to E minor. We have the octave. This cadence to E minor is preceded by another cadence where the 5th degree, as you can see, doesn't have the octave at the top here. So the previous cadence is here it is at the end of the 4-bar phrase. So I'll paste the link of the analysis of the Goldberg variations of that aria in the description so that you can watch it and understand how they work. Then let's come back to that comment. No, here it is. I hope the above is clear. Yes, the question is clear. Even if you made put a lot of numbers, the question is clear. I'm sure that this will be explained in the next few videos, right? But especially in the minuet chapter, because it's the minuet, the first dance, where the rhythm is built that way. But I would appreciate your opinion on the maximum spacing that the keyboard player would generally find most comfortable. Okay, no, this is referring to the other thing, to the following question. What's the maximum spacing? It's something related to the Baroque style. For example, here I'm using now an organ. As you can see, this organ has the last note to be a C. So don't overpass the C here. And in general, remember that many harpsichords do not overpass that D. So for Baroque music, I suggest to set this range, the low C1, as you can see on the other note here, C1, and no more than D2. D2. I mean D5, D2. I mean maybe it's too, it's not so much for Baroque-style, but this D5. So this is the range, because only a few instruments arrive there to F, and only on the organ you don't have lower note than that C. On the harpsichord you may have it, but in general, it's difficult to find pieces that go lower than this. Yes, you can find some example in Bach's partitas, okay, but in French music, okay, but take the majority of Bach compositions. They usually don't arrive so lower than that note, so you can play it even on the organ. The maximum number of voices that each hand would comfortably play when I'm composing an demand for the keyboard. So in general, remember that 3 voices is a good thing, it's more than enough. 4, it's almost let's say the maximum. 5 can be done, especially if you have some stile brisé, and sometimes some arpeggios. So even 5, or some first 7 chords, even 6, but in those cases they are chords. If you talk about voices, keep a general 3 voice texture, and then you can sometimes pass to 2, sometimes to 4, why not? With some chords 5 or 6, but no more. For some only chords, you know, like even to create an arsic point. This creates a very interesting tension for the beginning of a phrase. Then, from your video, I think the maximum number of voices played at one time will be 5. Exactly, 5. It's what the number of voices you can play and control them at the same time. More are basically arpeggios. But thanks for your thoughts on this. Thanks for your time, and cheers, Pavvi. Great, interesting question. So I prefer to make a video because these are questions which can be better explained with examples, and that can be helpful for other musicians like you who are watching randomly this video. So all these things, so that you know, are in the suite and dance level, which is the third level of the Musicus Practicus Baroque path. The first level is hexachordal solmization. The second level is partimento, so that you learn counterpoint and harmony with partimenti. And then the third level is suite and dances. Why? Because after learning counterpoint and partimenti, then you have to learn how to create good rhythms. And the rhythm is the essence of the dance. So that's why we study dances. How to find this? Follow the link in the description. There's a video called Instructions. Go there, and then you can find a video explaining you the instruction to join the MPA Musicus Practicus Academy free levels. There are a lot of lessons you can watch. I show you. And then if you like, there are the full path you can choose. Or if you need some guidance to learn Baroque music, to compose Baroque music, you can, or Renaissance music. Now we are talking about Baroque music, but there's the Renaissance path too, Renaissance. Just get in touch with me, and I can better know you and what's your current level. Because if you are a beginner, maybe it's better for you a personal guidance. If you're already an advanced musician and you want just to explore these topics, maybe you can do it by yourself. Or sometimes the best thing in general is an integrated path, so that you study the theoretical and let's say the rules by yourself, and then together we do only the practical things, so composition, harmony, partimenti, and exercises together, and the other things, the rules, the rhythm, the phrasing are already explained in the lessons you can watch as you prefer during the week. In any case, get in touch with me and we can work together. Great questions, Pavvi. So I really appreciate them. They're very interesting questions. I have already said that are interesting questions. No. By the way, have a nice day and see you in the next video. Every self-respecting Baroque composer wrote at least one suite with their own dances. Think of Bach's French suites, Handel's suite, or harpsichord partitas by other great composers. Composing a suite is a true challenge. Each dance has its own rhythms, phrasing, style, and unique character. And if you don't study how each one works, you risk writing an allemand that sounds like a gavotte, a French courante that feels like a sarabande, or a minuet that turns into a passe-pied. No, no, no! What you need is structure, method, and the right knowledge. That's why I created an entire level on the Musicus Practicus Baroque path dedicated to composing a complete Baroque suite with all its dances. The dances you'll study include allemande, sarabande, minuet, gavotte, bourée, French courante, Italian corrente, passe-pied, lourd, French jig, and Italian jig-up. Each dance is introduced in a carefully structured didactical order, and for every one of them I've designed a target learning method, the most effective one I've used and I use in my one-to-one lessons, which has helped students achieve faster and more solid results. First, we studied the compositional elements of each dance: rhythm, phrasing, and structure. Then we analyze many real examples from different composers so you can learn directly from them and be inspired by their work. Finally, the active part. We compose 2 full suites together, writing 2 dances for each type, one in B flat major and the other one in B minor, to explore the expressive richness of both major and minor modes. All of these and much more in the 3rd level of the Musicus Practicus Baroque path, Suite and Dances. Click the link to download the free ebook on Suite and Dances and to explore the full content. Then get started with the free levels you can find on the Musicus Practicus Academy free. Then choose the complete path that suits you best and get ready to compose your Baroque suite as if you had lived in the 18th century.